How exactly do connections matter? While Mario and Luigi Brothership's theme is simple, that being the importance of connections, the value of it comes from what Brothership shows instead of says. Whether it's a helping hand or moving past self-doubt, many of its characters represent why connections are important and how solitude can be forced on us. But how do the characters manage to elevate this? Well, sit back, relax, and let's start with one of the many different relationships of Brothership's setting, Concordia. When Mario and Luigi first arrive in Concordia, and first meet Connie and Snoutlet, the world's been split apart into multiple islands. Some of the problems this has caused for the Concordians is separated families who are worried for their safety. This happens on your first visit to Rumble Island with Chief Wilma, whose children are stranded on different islands and need rescuing. They're her son Buildit and her daughter Maidkit. Whoever you save first becomes a permanent shop owner on Shipshape Island. Maidkit in my case, but the events that play out are about the same regardless. But later, Wilma starts to worry about Maidkit being on her own, and wants to send her a letter, but also worries about the risk of upsetting her. But once Maidkit gets the letter, it's a heartfelt message wondering how she's doing nowadays, and encouraging her to keep doing a great job helping people with her shop. It even encourages Maidkit to try visiting her mother once in a while. Sure, it's not the deepest or most complex series of events in the world, but even in actions of concern or care for another, we don't always know what others will think, or how they'll feel and react to them. In a world where anything can happen, reminding the people we're close to that we still care about them and maintaining that connection might make a difference in the long run. But some Concordians have their own problems besides the world splitting apart, like Chillium, Prince of the Slip and Glide people, and Bernadette, Princess of the Scorchine people. They're two lovers that share a really strong bond with each other, but their people share a long rivalry with each other. Some of that rivalry being the Mario edition of a cook-off. But later on, through a desire to help their two people get along in peace, the couple decide to have a wedding for both the people of Slip and Glide and Scorchine to see. And seeing their strong connection with each other encourages the two groups to reconsider their constant rivalry and give connecting with each other a chance. And you can even see some of this change when talking to some of the Slip and Glide and Scorchine villagers. It's not just in the main story either. Even Brothership's side quests follow similar themes of connection. Whether it's reuniting two lost brothers or finding a mother's lost gift from her daughter, Concordia is filled with stories about the connections people share with each other, how it affects them, and how it impacts them. Whether it's from the main story, the side quests, or even the common folk. But this also applies to the allies the Mario brothers recruit on their journey through Concordia. On some islands, Mario, Luigi, and Snoutlet gain new allies that want to help them in their mission. One of them is a group of young, aspiring heroes called Idol. They're Irene, Dulez, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, Lug, and Elo. Even as greenhorns, they're all serious about proving themselves and contributing as best as they can. And it especially shows after you rescue Peach on Marigo Island. She sticks around on Shipshape Island, and Idol's spirited heroics end up being an inspiration to her, while also helping up the Mario Bros here and there. During their investigation on Law Coins Island, the kids help out by helping search for information, instructing a guard for Mario by pretending to be lost children, and giving hints to some of the puzzles. In one limited time side quest, Irene, Luke, and Peach need to find a special medicine to heal Dory's injuries. Peach nearly gets scammed out of offering a crown for the needed medicine until the scammer gets snatched by a nearby Snapter. Irene and Luke manage to rescue the scammer, call him out on his scheming, and get the medicine to help Dory recover. And to breach a wall shielding one of the great lighthouses, they're even willing to ride a rocket to help keep it stable and reach the barrier, which is brave of them. But at the same time, why are we sacrificing 4 children? I mean, I know they make it out fine because it's a Mario game, but the game runs with the idea that they might have died from that. I'm not sure whether to be shocked or impressed. Maybe both. But either way, seeing Idol's constant spirit and hard work encourages Peach and even Starlo to join Idol, search out the seas, and report any of their findings to the Mario Brothers. This ends up helping them multiple times throughout their journey, like spying on the activities of the Zoggett Army, the main villains of Brothership, and reporting back to Mario and Luigi on any dangerous activities they're doing, or reporting about any ongoing danger. Idol connecting with Mario, Luigi, and Peach helps them grow from just a group of kids to inseparable allies who are helpful in their own ways. But the Idol kids aren't the only allies to gain something from connecting with the Mario Bros. Another is the genius inventor Techniki, who makes most of the Bros attacks you'll have in the game. But she also represents how passions can build connections for ourselves and other people. In the past, Techniki entered a competition against a group of other genius inventors, including a Daphne, that's said to be top inventor in Concordia. After losing, Techniki throws her invention into the sea, believing it's useless because it didn't measure up to Daphne's creations. But when you ask Techniki what the invention was, it turns out it was a spyglass that one of the crewmates uses, specifically Ark, Shipshape's young oceanographer. Before you meet Techniki, there's actually a side quest where he ends up losing the spyglass somewhere on Rainforest Island. But once you find it for Ark, it shows that it has a lot of sentimental value to him because it reminds him of his missing father and his advice to keep moving forward when times are tough, and motivates him a bit more to help the bros and find his father however he can. It just goes to show that sometimes something we think might be trash or inferior to something else might end up connecting with others. Regardless of whether they match Daphne's standards or not, connecting with the Mario Bros gives her inventions a purpose and inspires Techniki to do her best for whatever they need. Throughout Brothership, the ship-shaped crew's connection to each other ends up helping them in more ways than one. But this doesn't only apply to Brothership's good guys. Bowser Jr.'s story in Brothership represents how our true connections will always be there for us when we need them most. It's no secret that Bowser Jr. is a very selfish, bossy, and bratty kid, not really having many friends of his own because of that. At least, not until he meets a young Concordia named Buddy. The two kids got along well with each other, but things turn a little complicated when the Mario Bros show up on Offenden Island. Bowser's put a hefty bounty on the brothers' heads. Buddy ends up helping Mario and Luigi out of a few troubles because of this, but Bowser Jr. sees this as Buddy taking their side over his and not caring about their friendship as much as he thinks, eventually calling off their friendship. But Bowser Jr. gets some much needed words of wisdom from Kamek saying that Bowser is as strong as he is because his minions are his true allies. Bowser trusts his minions as much as they trust Bowser, and they're always there for each other when they need each other most. It's that very something that Bowser Jr. is lacking and is the reason he doesn't have many friends, but thankfully Bowser Jr. takes the chance to realize this. At a later point in the story, Bowser's minions get infected by a dark substance called Glom. Anyone under the effects of Glom becomes hateful towards bonds and connections, and it can only be cured through special fruits called ant berries. For Bowser's minions, they gang up on Bowser Jr. and threaten to get rid of him. Thankfully, Buddy gets Mario and Luigi to help Jr. out, but after the rescue, Jr. keeps being dishonest with himself by trying to push him away. That's when Buddy makes it clear to Jr. that no matter what he thinks or says, their friendship will always be important to him. This finally leads to Jr. being more honest with his feelings and rekindling his friendship with Buddy. Our true connections may not always be there when we want them, but they'll always be there for us when we need them, even if they're not always there in person. There's a lot to like about Connie. Besides being really adorable, Connie's job is to take care of the newly growing Unitree as its wildness, but as a young apprentice, there's a limit to what she can do on her own. Despite that, Connie's connections with Mario, Luigi, and her missing mentor, Cosette, help strengthen her resolve to save Concordia as the only wildness who can do so. Connie's connections are about faith. Because of her young age and lack of experience, she ends up relying on Cosette a lot in the past. Connie mentions a few of these moments, like when she got lost in Marigo Island's maze one time, and was so scared that she started crying and needed Cosette's help getting out. But you also see one of these moments in a flashback on All Sand Island. Cosette helps Connie out of a pool of quicksand, but afterwards Connie apologizes for having to rely on her help again. But Cosette reassures Connie, telling her that she helps because she values the bond she has with other people, including her. It even tells her that there may be a time where she'll need to rely on Connie's help instead. Not only does it show Cosette's optimistic faith in Connie, but despite their difference in Wanda's experience, Cosette's not afraid to admit that even she has her limits and may need support from Connie because of that. Even after Cosette goes missing in the present day, Connie's bond with her mentor still manages to influence parts of her decisions. She explains at one point that after their old Unitree got destroyed and got knocked away to Shipshape Island, Connie wasn't sure what she should do until she remembered one of Cosette's teachings. This encouraged her to take action by planting a new Unitree, caring for it enough for it to act as a sail for Shipshape Island. Despite her limits, Connie's faith in her mentor and her teachings is one of the many elements that pushes her forward to do what needs to be done. But also helping to make up that difference is Mario and Luigi. Since she's a child lacking in combat experience, the brothers help protect Connie from any dangers they might come across. But besides that, their efforts also give Connie faith and strengthen her resolve to do what she has to for Concordia. You see it almost every time the bros help Connie relight one of the Great Lighthouses, because she grows more confident that the team can bring Concordia back together again. But it's not just limited to the Great Lighthouses. In one of Brothership's limited time side quests, Connie and Ark try to convince Chilliam's father to join his son's wedding to Bernadette. But because of the Glom affecting him, he acts resentful and distant towards his son and even his own villagers, not wanting anything to do with them. That's when the two kids start to doubt if they can ever bring their world back to the way it was before. But that's when Mario and Luigi try to console the kids, saying that Connie's gentle heart and Ark's cheerful personality make them strong in their own ways. Another section is supposed to be just about Connie, but the brothers' support to the kids, which is too heartwarming to not include. Plus, this helps encourage them to try and convince Trillium's father again, and it actually ends up working. Even when neither Cosette or the brothers aren't around, Connie's faith grows strong enough to help her stand her ground when it matters. At a certain point, Mario, Luigi, and Snoutlet storm Zaga's fortress, but after he launches a counterattack, the only way the trio can flee is by diving into the ocean. But afterwards, Zaga confronts Connie on Ship-Shape Island, telling her that Mario and Luigi didn't survive and that his plans are close to succeeding, even going as far as to threaten her. While she starts off a little hesitant, she tells Socket, straight to his bony face, that his threats won't stop her from fighting her mentor and restoring the world they both know and love. Connie may not be strong on the outside, but her connections to the people supporting her mission help make her strong on the inside. Many of Brothership's characters represent different strengths from connections, though the game does make it clear that doing things solo isn't always a bad thing, but there can be such a thing as too much solitude. Besides Concordia splitting apart, another problem plaguing the world is the spread of Glom breaking connections. The one spreading the substance is Zocket and his army, infecting people with Glom to force them to hate bonds and connections of any kind regardless of how strong that bond is. But Glom isn't the only method of forced solitude harming Concordia. After Zocket's defeat is the awakening of Reclusa, who is much more unhinged and ruthless than his cold, calculative underling. Instead of hatred, though, Reclusa traps innocent lives inside of his flowers, into a dream world filled with their deepest desires. They're so completely unaware of anyone or anything happening outside of their blissful dream that they'll eventually perish from starvation. Their actions are flat out bad, but in a story about bonds and connections, they also work as a metaphor on how it's possible for people to have solitude forced upon them, whether by other people or by our own actions. The Zagat army's methods of forcing solitude are more direct, since they have to fire their Glom rays from up close. In a way, this could make the Zagat army's use of Glom represent how acts of preying on the weak can lead to those victims growing resentful and less trusting of no one else but themselves. Meanwhile, Reclusa's more indirect method of trapping innocent lives in a dream of their own desires can represent how self-indulgence to the point of disconnection can limit our chances to grow or survive until it's too late. The power of Glom, Reclusa's actions, they're all reminders that anyone, no matter how strong, can have solitude forced upon them. The dangerous aspects of extreme solitude are part of why connections are important for overcoming them, and the ones that embody this are Mario and Luigi. Mario and Luigi's connection to each other and their friends is important in their mission to defeat the ones doing everything they can to harm Concordia. Because, while the brothers are strong in their own rights, even on their own, they aren't invincible. They're just as vulnerable to the dangers overwhelming Concordia, and sometimes need help from each other, or others outside of just the two of them, to press on. In fact, there's a certain part of Zagat's fight that illustrates this. Zagat will sometimes glom one of the bros, Luigi in my case, and whoever's still fine has to counter the other bro's attacks. Luigi will stop after a while, but if you refrain from attacking him, Mario's compassion will get rid of the Glom controlling Luigi. Normally, Amp Berries are the de facto way to cure Glom, but during this moment, the brothers' bond is the Amp Berry. But their vulnerability is further shown during the brothers' mission to defeat Reclusa, who is hiding inside of his fortress, the Solitude. To reach it, Mario and Luigi need to collect the bonds of the people they've helped up to this point, power Connie's bonding can, then use that power to destroy the Solitude's barrier. When the brothers are closing in on Reclusa, they are ambushed by the same flowers trapping many of the Concordians. Inside of their dream is their brothers returning back to the Mushroom Kingdom. Snoutlet, the one person that's not from the Mushroom Kingdom, ended up joining them in the dream, and he's the first to notice the many inconsistencies within the dream. Once the trio spot enough inconsistencies, they do everything in their power to resist Reclusa's tricks to keep them in his false reality. It's only thanks to their teamwork that they're able to escape Reclusa's flowers and bring the fight to the Solitude psychopath himself. But soon after, Reclusa fuses with the Solitude to spread Glom around the area, weakening Mario, Luigi, and Snoutlet, causing them to collapse out of exhaustion. But thankfully, Connie manages to catch up and showers Mario and Luigi with the bonding can's energy, helping them regain consciousness and powering them with all the bonds they've collected, combined with their strong bond with each other. As powerful as Mario and Luigi are, even they sometimes need help from others outside of themselves to succeed in their goals, especially for their final battle for the fate of Concordia. Mario and Luigi defeat Reclusa once and for all, not just through their connection alone, but with their connection to everyone. Sometimes, doing things solo can be a good thing on its own, but too much solitude can make it easy to forget what makes connections important. Whether it's reminding the people we're close to that we care, encouraging others, inspiring them, or giving meaning to our actions, or giving us the strength to press forward, we can be strong on our own. But no matter what, we aren't invincible. But every action we take has the potential to connect us to other people. And as long as that potential exists, we'll always have the power to push past our limits and keep moving our lives forward in our own ways. But do let me know what you think of Mario and Luigi Brothership and its characters. And if you enjoy analysis videos on Mario or Nintendo games in general and would love to see more, please do leave a like to help spread the video out, and subscribe to stay updated on when more will come in the future. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching all the way through, and I hope I'll see you again next time. Take care, everyone.